Yesterday, two pieces of news hit the Spurs universe like a 1-2 punch. First, Greg Popovich will no longer be head coach of the San Antonio Spurs and is transitioning full-time to team president. Just as fans in San Antonio started debating whether Mike Malone, Taylor Jenkins, Mike Brown, or Mike Budenholzer would get the nod as the next head coach, the organization dropped another bombshell minutes later, shutting down all speculation. The San Antonio Spurs are hiring assistant Mitch Johnson as the franchise's next head coach. First, let's talk about Pop. His stepping down wasn't surprising. The man is 75 years old, and rumors about his health have been circulating for a while. Let's be real, this was coming. We'll spend the next few months, or years, properly appreciating everything Greg did for the franchise, the league, and basketball as a whole. But stepping away from the bench, it was time. The good news is Pop isn't leaving us completely. He's just moving upstairs as team president. We'll still catch him lurking around Spurs games occasionally, that familiar scowl peering from the owner's box like a basketball Gandalf watching over Middle-earth. For me, the real surprise was how quickly they named his successor, cutting off all speculation before it could even start. That's the Spurs way. No drama, no endless search committees, just decisive action. Most fans didn't like it. To hire a young assistant who, in many eyes, didn't do a good job last season, while big-name coaches were available, they're wasting Wemby's prime. This is a disaster. Why not hire a real coach? Wemby's gonna demand a trade. Okay, let's take a breath and actually think this through. The Spurs didn't become the Spurs by chasing shiny objects. Discipline, not skipping steps, fundamentals, believing in their own people over outside stars. If you followed, or even just respected, what Pop and the Spurs built over the last 30 years, you know the drill. Hiring Mitch Johnson? That's the most Spurs move imaginable. Mitch is Pop's final apprentice, the guy who's been glued to his side these past few years, soaking up every last lesson. Passing him over for some flashy hire would have gone against everything this franchise stands for. Could they have hired a more experienced coach? Sure, but at what cost? The truth is this. Mitch Johnson represents the perfect bridge between eras. He knows Pop's system inside out but is young enough to adapt it for today's NBA. He commands respect from the players but doesn't have the ego to rebel against Pop's shadow. And crucially, he's already earned Wemby's trust, something no outside hire could promise. Some will argue Mitch struggled last season when Pop stepped back. I disagree. When Victor Wembanyama was healthy, this team was fighting for the play-in, hanging with Sacramento, Dallas, and Golden State for those 8 to 10 seeds. Under Mitch, they had legit moments. That Christmas showdown against the Knicks, the Jokic-Wemby duel, a lot of good games. The young core improved too. The collapse came after Wemby's January injury, something no coach could have prevented, and yet, they still won 12 more games than the year before. Was Mitch perfect? No, but given the circumstances, he did fine. Even Pop vouched for him. Here's the bigger thing. The players, especially Wemby, love Mitch. You won't see headlines about it, but do you really think the Spurs didn't check with their franchise guy before making this call? Vic's praised Mitch in every interview. Those two have a real connection. Mitch was Wemby's personal coach from day one, running his warm-ups, drilling his weaknesses. Even after taking over as interim head coach, Mitch still warmed up Vic before every game. This is how the Spurs operate. They don't chase big names, they develop their own people. The Spurs' DNA is built on relationships, and right now, no coach in the league has a deeper bond with Victor than Mitch Johnson. So here's the deal. We gotta give Mitch a shot. This is his first real offseason as the guy. His first chance to run the locker room without the interim tag. Truth is, we don't even know what kind of coach he'll be yet. Will he make mistakes? Of course. But not skipping steps applies to coaches too. If you're dreaming of a new dynasty around Wemby, you've got to trust Mitch. If you trusted Pop and R.C. Buford all these years, then you should trust this move too. Championships aren't won by following conventional wisdom. They're won by organizations that know their identity and stick to it. The Spurs just reminded everyone what theirs is.